Hi everyone, thank you for coming to my channel, Late Bloomer Diaries. My name is Shelby and on this channel I talk about gardening, and I specifically garden in Macomb County, Michigan, which is zone 6 something. The map has changed. I don't know what zone I'm in anymore other than it's still in zone 6. So that being said, I'm growing here in Michigan and we are now officially, right now it's March 3rd, the day that I'm filming. We're officially 8 to 10 weeks out from our last frost date here, which is typically early mid-May, so like May 10th, May 11th. I thought, let's get the seeds out. Let's get the trays out, and we're gonna start some things from seed indoors so we can transplant them out after that last frost date at the end of May. So that's what we're here to talk about. I haven't bought any seeds this year. I went on a little bit of a seed buying frenzy at the end of last year with the Canadian wildfires. I was very curious and also concerned about the impact those wildfires would have on the seed growers. So last summer I went and bought a lot of seeds, and I said I'm not buying any more in 2024. So here we are. I wanted to go over those varieties with you just to kind of share in the kind of, I guess, the excitement, and then probably, and I'm hoping to do another segment of this video where I can just kind of chit-chat at you when I'm putting the seeds in the trays. That's the plan. Stan. As far as my seed going went, I bought seeds from a number of companies, including Botanical Interests, Baker Creek, and then there's three companies that I never bought from before last year, and that's one called Outside Pride. There was another one called Southern Exposure Seed Exchange, and then there was also a new one to me called Redemption Seed. So you'll see seed packets from all of those here, as well as some seeds that I did successfully manage to save myself. So just to kind of go ahead and get started, I like flowers. I like growing flowers. I also like growing vegetables, so you'll see a variety and mixture here. I'm also growing some bouquet fillers, just for utilization as well. So here is the first one that serves as a bouquet filler, and also allegedly this one makes a really good tea, and that's cinnamon basil. This is from Redemption Seed. This was a free seed packet that they sent me. They say this one's really good in bouquets, and what I really want to do is I want to put basil in my porch pot out front, so that's where this is hopefully going to go if something happens with these seeds and something starts to go, something grows, something germinates. This one is also this one's also a bouquet filler, and I saw this one also from Redemption Seeds, but this one I specifically saw one of my Instagram friend Morgan is a flower farmer, and when she takes her bouquets to the farmer's market, she had this incredible, it looked like a fiberglass, it was like a fiberglass, but it looked insane. It was amazing. And I said, what is that? And she said it's frosted explosion grass. So I have seeds for that. We can try it. My plan for my seeds too, assuming that please God, just like let me sow enough seeds that something germinates. But if none of these seeds germinate, we'll be heartbroken for about 10 minutes and then we'll have to adapt. This is another bouquet filler, also from Redemption Seeds, and this is just bunny tails. A lot of companies do sell seeds for this one, and I just see that it goes really fast. I think this one's pretty popular, especially for people who grow cutting flowers, because this one is nice in bouquets. Here's two varieties of aster. I got these from Outside Pride. These are dwarf lilac asters, and then these are not a dwarf variety, and they're pink. And actually what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to try and sow, and whatever comes up. My grandma also wanted some asters, so whatever comes up If not very much germinates, I'm gonna just give those to my grandma so she can have her asters. If enough germinates that we both can have our asters, yay. But I'm gonna let grandma have priority on those. 2 varieties of snapdragons. This one's from MIgardener. These are pink. And then this one is a Potomac variety mix that has a bunch of colors, including apple blossom, cherry rose, deep orange, lavender, pink. Not lavender and pink. Not lavender pink. I don't know what lavender pink is. Royal burgundy and yellow. So we'll see what happens with these. I like snapdragons. I like them as a cutting flower. Never grown onions before. We're gonna grow onions, candy onions, and then cipollini, which I'm extremely biased towards these. I have high hopes because cipollinis are my favorite variety of onion. I could literally just saute them on the stove with some salt and lime juice and eat them up that way. They're divine. They're my favorite. I'm gonna try feverfew, which this one specifically, feverfew is a perennial, and what I really want to do with this one is I'm gonna try and put it in my perennial bed at the back of my yard along my fence. That's kind of the hope with this one. I have 2 varieties of Gomphrena, which I believe, I could be wrong, but I think Gomphrena is also called Globe Amaranth. So this variety from Baker Creek is just the white ones. I think this one will be a nice bouquet filler, assuming it germinates. And then I have this one from Johnny Seed, which is raspberry cream. And these ones are pink. I did get these to germinate last year. I didn't have them in a good spot, and they were leggy before they flowered. And they took a million years. Marigold seeds that I harvested. There's probably cross-pollination. I don't really care, just so long as I get marigolds. I have 2 varieties of calendula. This one's from Botanical Interests. This is the calendula resina, which is the classic yellow one. And then there's also the pink surprise, which I thought I wanted to try because I like things that are pink. Okay, lastly, I've got dahlias, which are some pom-pom dahlia varieties. I think they come in a bunch of different colors. We're gonna see what happens. And then as far as leeks go, we're gonna try the leeks again. I think I started them a little too late last year. So we're gonna try them again earlier this year. Okay, so those are the varieties that most of the varieties I'm starting from seed. I got a couple more packets that I'm gonna talk you through, and these are arguably people's favorite thing in the garden, which is, I'm gonna say, tomatoes. And I'm nervous to grow tomatoes this year. I do hope that everything here germinates. And I'm hoping that I am hoping everything germinates. Please, 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 please. I am nervous though, because I'm scared that I won't be able to eat them as fast as they grow later in the season. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I could be wrong. What if nothing germinates? If nothing germinates, we adapt and adjust. So I'll start as far as the tomatoes go. I'm gonna start with the cherry variety, which I have right here from Baker Creek, the black cherry variety. These are apparently a really nice variety of cherry tomato to grow. I've never actually had them before, but they have apparently these ones rate very highly in terms of taste and texture. I also have, and this one's from Southern Exposure Seed Exchange. This is the Garden Peach variety, and these apparently get fuzzy like a peach. They have a sweeter taste, and they're also split resistant, and I thought they just seemed interesting, so I thought we'll try them. We'll see what happens. And I've got 2 heirloom varieties that I believe are from the Midwest, which is where I live here in Michigan. Michigan's part of the Midwest. The first one here is Kellogg's Breakfast. Being from Michigan, Kellogg's cereal was started here and it's still headquartered here. So this one, and I believe originated in Redford, Michigan. But this is a yellow, no, it's not yellow, it's orange. This is an orange variety and it's a slicer. I thought, what's the worst that can happen? We'll see. I've heard that these are very good in terms of, I've heard they have a good flavor as well. And same thing goes for this variety, which is an Indiana heirloom called Hughes. And Hughes is a yellow slicer, and apparently that one's got a very good flavor as well. Last two, also slicer varieties. I've got an Ox Heart, which is called Bread and Salt. This one's from Baker Creek, and I'll be very honest, I bought it because of the name. That seems like a really stupid reason to buy a seed now that I'm thinking about it, but I don't care. And then also, last one, Big Rainbow variety. My Instagram friend Morgan also grew these, and she had a lot of really good things to say about these. She also grew Cherokee Purple and some others that I don't remember, but the Big Rainbow did stick out to me. All right, that's it for the seeds. I'm hoping that you'll see me again here in a couple seconds where I'm getting my seeds in the seed trays. So I hope to see you then. All right. It's, I think, 2 days later, and I still have not gotten my seeds in the trays. So I've got my seed trays here. We're gonna go ahead, get started. I did start putting like my markers in. So like in this, Jesus. So this little seed tray here is, I'm just gonna put flower seeds in. I'm gonna do my snapdragons. I'm gonna do gomphrena, dahlia, and marigolds in here, and then we're just gonna, my theory is if you put down enough seeds, something will germinate. So that's kind of what I'm hoping happens. And so we're just gonna go ahead. But then I figured, because I already walked you through the varieties I'm planting, it might just be fun if I were to chit-chat with you. So that's kind of what we're gonna do. These are the marigold seeds that I harvested last year. I already discussed these. I'm in my office currently, and my office is the smallest room in my house, which makes it also the warmest. So that's why I have my whole setup in here. And what I saw on the internet as far as planting marigold seeds go is you really just need to press them into the soil. They just need that soil contact. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. The soil's nice and moist still overnight. I had put my seed starting medium was very hydrophobic, which tells me that there was peat in it, which I don't really like working with peat because it is so hydrophobic. But I went ahead and I got it moistened, and now I'm hoping that something will take off. What I'll probably do though is water it in sometime today. But the soil's nice and moist, and I'll just put the humidity dome over it, and it'll be, I'm just hoping everything will be simpatico if I do that. We'll see. This is a learning experience. I've never started my seeds indoors before, so you learn by doing. Well, I learn by doing. So as far as general chit chat goes, I was gonna so yesterday specifically was Super Tuesday here in the United States, and I'm not really gonna talk politics. I'm not a political channel, but the one of the things that we've done here in the state of Michigan in the last few years is they did when I say they, I mean we, back in 2022, we did vote in for 9-day, well, early voting is what we ended up doing. We already had here in the state, no excuse absentee ballots, which people will call them mail-in ballots. I don't call them that. But something that you guys don't know about me, because I only talk, really I only talk about gardening here. I work elections. I go back to my hometown and I work for the clerk's office, and you know, in the past it was only for a day here and there. But they did call me and ask me it would have been beginning of January. They called me and asked me and said, would I be interested in helping them with the early voting? So I did that. These are the Snapdragons, the Potomac seeds. And then I'm also gonna do these ones, which are just the pink Snapdragons from MIgardener. I'm just gonna kind of scanner them, see what happens. But gosh, they're tiny. Do I just put down the whole thing? Like, that seems wasteful. What if I want Snapdragons next year? Okay, there's still some in there. We'll save some for next year just to see. Or maybe I should just put them all down. I'll just put them all down. These are Snapdragons and I'm putting these, I'm just gonna scatter them. The internet said, and I believe it, I believe the internet on this one because they're so tiny. You don't need to bury Snapdragon seeds. You just scatter them on the surface, you just surface sow them and magic should happen. I'll press them in though. Get that. But they're so small, how do I know that I don't have a... Anyway, regardless, doesn't matter. Hopefully something germinates there. Good God. Better. Spent a lot of money on that particular seed packet when I was panic buying. MIgardener, on the other hand, if you ever buy from MIgardener, but MIgardener seed packets are usually generally quite a good price. They're about, I think they're like $2 a packet, so they're really, in terms of price, you really can't beat MIgardener prices. I'd like to go up to their store. They're the next county up from me. They're up in St. Clair County. I'm in Macomb County. So I'd like to go up there and see their store. I know my aunt has been there. My aunt lives like a town over from them, so she's been there before. I have not. Okay, so I'm gonna put the dahlias. I have a little, I broke a chopstick in half and I put it down the middle here. I'm gonna put the dahlias here and then I'm gonna put the gumbrina here. Anyway, getting back to the election work. So they called me in January and they asked if I would be interested in working the early voting. I didn't see why not, so I did. I took the time off. Luckily, I'm very blessed. My company that I work for does have pretty good PTO package. And that's something I specifically this year I'm trying to be better about, like using my PTO. So these dahlia seeds remind me a little bit of zinnia seeds. And these are gonna be like a pom-pom dahlia. Anyway, so they called me, they asked if I wanted to do that. I said I would. My boss knows that working elections is actually important to me. So she approved the time off request, and so I went and worked for 9 days. Of those days, like only 5 of them were PTO, because there were also weekends, which is nice when you think about it. I did have every single one of my family members that lives in that town did come out to the early voting. So my parents, my grandma, my aunt and uncle and cousin all came out to vote, but it was an experience for sure. 9 days is a long time. We had a lot of people, they wanted to have people working who, they wanted a combination of people who've worked elections before and people who hadn't. So we had a mix of veterans and newbies. And generally it was, I mean, in terms of, a lot of people said that they didn't know what early voting was even happening. So I can't verify how true that is. I know that they put out a mailer, and then when it was going on, they did have people talking about it on the radio and both on the radio and on TV. But I don't know. I mean, I can speak for myself. I primarily stream. I don't really watch the news anymore. But I don't need to, because I work for the town sometimes, and they tell me what's going on. But I know it, I mean, generally not the worst thing. You know, as word gets out that we're doing it, we have to do it in the state of Michigan, because we voted it in. It's now in our state constitution, and so they can't just, like, if it's not working, they can't just, like, do away with it. We actually by law have to, per our state constitution, have to have at minimum 9 days of early voting, and up to, like, it's like, I think up to 29. So thankfully 9 days is probably, I would say 9 days is probably the bare minimum and probably the most doable. Like, I can't speak for every clerk's office, but I know that when all the young people are at work and you're working with primarily retirees, because that's who works elections, they're crying for young people to come work that, because the young people are more comfortable with the computer than the old people. In terms of, because the person with the computer is what we call an EPB, or an electronic poll book. So they're the ones, like, scanning people's driver's licenses and actually, like, issuing the ballot and et cetera, et cetera. It's really interesting. I have learned so much from working elections, and I realize it's probably boring to hear me yatter on about it, but it was the first time we ever did it, and I think some lessons learned, and then just making sure, I mean, for state and federal elections, we have to do it. So August and November, they did indicate they probably would want me to come back, unless they want to get more fresh blood in, because I couldn't blame them if they wanted to do that. But it was, I mean, I've already put in the PTO request, and if they don't need me, I'll just cancel that PTO request at work. As far as these Gomphrena seeds are tiny, but not as tiny as the Snapdragon seeds. And then what else did I want to chit-chat about? Like, it's not, you know, it is what it is. Oh well. Anyway, as far as this year goes in the garden, I know I've talked about a little bit about like the things that I want to do for this year. Let's see. Okay, so that's all the flower seeds in here. So I'm just gonna pop the dome over top and we'll let that one get on. And now, in this one, I have popsicle sticks with all my tomato varieties written down. I have not actually sown seeds in here though. It's gonna be more a guide to tell me, but I also don't want to, like, I want things to germinate. I also don't want to be inundated, because then I'm gonna have to get rid of plants because my garden is not very big. That's fine. I can always give them away either to family or to friends who are interested in gardening. So as far as things I want to learn more about this year in terms of, like, I've said it before, I learn by doing. So for me, what I want to do, I'm like, this year's going to be a lot of learning by doing. So, you know, over the winter, I've done a few things in terms of figuring out what the packages, like what the packages say, and watching videos about people growing tomatoes and all sorts of stuff. Where was I going with this? Oh, so another thing I want to learn more about, and something that I've been reading about, and I hope to learn more about is, you know, through experience, is I want to learn more about seed saving. So that's kind of something that I've been reading about the last couple of weeks. That's the thing that I've been reading and taking notes on. So I may talk about that a little bit more later on. You may see some of that from me. I don't know. This is the Kellogg's breakfast. So I'm just gonna kind of go down the line based on what the popsicle stick says. And I'm gonna sow at least, I'm gonna sow 2 seeds per cell, I think. And then that way, because this one says 92% germination. So that's pretty good. I like my odds, but we'll just, you know, play it cautiously. The battery or the memory stick was like, I don't have enough room. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll learn. We'll find out. The internet didn't say, like, how deeply you need to press these in to the soil, so we'll just do what we can. The soil is nice and moist. It stayed moist overnight, so that's good. Yesterday, I kept meaning to do this yesterday, but then, like, work stuff kept coming up, and so I didn't get to it. But that's okay. And they say the best time to, well, I mean, I'm starting the seeds indoors, doesn't really matter, but the internet did say, like, if you're gonna sow seeds, do it in the morning. So I guess that's what I'll do. Okay, so that's Kellogg's breakfast done. Now I have Big Rainbow next. I wanted to chit-chat and then I ran out of things to talk about. Go figure. Ew. So these seeds, I like Baker Creek. I've had good luck with them in the past. Never done tomatoes though. Does this one say anything about how well it germinates? No. Huh, okay. So I don't know to what degree I need to hedge my bets on this one. I think that 6 seeds. We'll call that 6. It might not in fact be 6, but we'll pretend. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's big rainbow done. Where did I put the popsicle stick? There we go. All right. Oh Lord, I don't even know what time it is. It is 7:38. I have 20 minutes. I can do so much in 20 minutes. I hope you believe in me. Anyway, where am I going? What else am I doing at this time? I've got a visit to my sister coming up. Yay. That's exciting. Primarily because it means I get to see my niece. I mean, I love my sister, and I need to fill out her birthday card because she has a birthday coming up. And I can't gift her seedlings because they are not as into gardening as I am. So this one, the garden peach, and there's a note on this one. No, there's not. Okay. I guess we'll find out on the germination. That's 5. 6. Got a visit with my sister coming up, and that's exciting because I get to see my niece, who's 1.5. So she's just at that fun age. She's always at a fun age as far as I'm concerned. She's a goofy little kid. She's just a goofy little kid. She's funny. And that'll be a good time. I think my washing machine just buzzed. The gosh. Am I boring? Do I not have things to talk about? It must be. Push. So that's garden peach done. We'll see what happens. I have this popsicle stick labeled Oxheart for the bread and salt one because it is an Oxheart variety technically. Let's rescue that bit of dirt I just threw off. We don't want dirt on the rug. But I figure there's a lot of Oxheart varieties out there, so that way I can always reuse that popsicle stick even if I don't reuse the bread and salt at a future date. But I have all these seeds, I might as well use them until I find another Oxheart variety. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 7. Do I want to let's just throw in an extra. Why not? And my hope is if these germinate, I can then let them hang out here until I can transplant them into something a little bigger and give them more room. So why not? Let's just find out. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten yet this morning. Because I needed to start my seeds before work. It's not like I'm going very far to the office. We're still remote. I mean, I think we're remote. As a company, we're remote first now, so not remote only, but as we found out during the pandemic, your commute is a lot easier when it's literally just from one room to the next. I don't love that for me, but what can you do? I don't go to the office as frequently as I would otherwise. I'm like, that was the thing I missed from the pandemic, was like my commute, because I was living at home at the time, and my commute, and so I was never ever alone unless I was in my car on my way to work. My commute was my alone time, and I missed that. But I will say, if you have the ability, if you're at a company that's willing to let you work from home, and nobody else wanted to go back to the office. I would have gone back to the office if everybody else did. And that's why if I do go into the office, I go on days when I know people are going to be there. But at the company I work for, so many people are like, I'm not going back to the office. You can't make me. So they aren't trying to make us. Because I think if they tried to make us go back, people would probably leave. But I like the company I work for, so if they made us go back to the office. They can't now because of this remote first. So many people have left there. With the housing market as crazy as it was, people have moved farther away from the office, etc., etc. So, okay, this is Hughes. I think between Hughes, Kellogg's Breakfast, and Big Tomatoes, those are the three that I'm most excited for. And then over here on the end, I've got Black Cherry. We're just gonna find out. Oh, what was the... Hughes had an 86% germination rate at BT Dubs. How many seeds is that? It looks like 6. If it looks like 6 and quacks like 6, I don't have any grit to put in here. I think there is the manufacturer did put some grit in here. My house is insulated with vermiculite. In theory, if I wanted grit, I could just do that. But when your house is insulated by vermiculite in this country, and it was built between certain years, you don't want to mess with the vermiculite because there's a chance that there's probably asbestos in it. And they say, unless you get it tested, they say, oh my God, how many times do I have to say that? If you have vermiculite in your house, just assume you have asbestos, especially if your house was built within a certain period of time, because like 75% of the vermiculite in this country was mined with asbestos, because there was like the vein of vermiculite that they mined ran next to a vein of something or other. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's what happens. There's a story there. I just don't know what it is, other than what the internet has told me. And if it's on the internet, it must be true. Okay, so I'm gonna put in these asters, and I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put them in 2 cells right here. I'm just gonna press them in, and then if something happens and they germinate, yay, because these are the pink ones. My grandma's garden is, it seems like, because I went and visited with her a few weeks back, and she, I think, is pretty committed to having flowers mostly this year. She might be interested in maybe having a squash or something, but she had a nice little cutting garden last year, and I think she's gonna continue that this year. So that'll be nice. And if I can give her some seedlings to put in, that'll be good. Put that there. I literally just cut up a bamboo skewer for this, and I cut them pretty badly because they're still kind of spiky, but you know, DIY. Let's do the lilac, which this is the dwarf variety. And I think what I'm gonna just do is I'll just put some seeds in 1 cell, and whatever comes up, and we'll transplant it out so it can get more room, and yay. I just don't want the seeds to dry out, so the soil's moist, so in theory they won't dry out. Did I literally just put the stake right where I put the seed? That final seed, maybe. I don't know. Okay, that's all the tomatoes, that's all the flowers. Okay, let's plant everything else. Feverfew. I can't believe I'm just sitting here rambling. I'm so hungry. Okay, I have opened the seed packet before. I don't know why it's not having it today. Oh my god, these seeds are tiny. Okay, so I just threw the feverfew in here at the back, and those seeds were so tiny, I just pressed them into the soil. Fingers crossed something happens. This is a perennial, and I want to put it in my perennial bed, or as people in the UK call them, herbaceous borders. I want a herbaceous border. A herbaceous border would be fantastic. This is frosted explosion grass. Oh. I like that they give me these teeny tiny like wax paper envelopes inside the seed packet. It's nice. Okay. This one is, the frosted explosion grass is an annual. Like any grass seed though, I'm literally just gonna press it in to the ground and give that soil contact. And whatever grows, grows. If nothing grows, I'll be sad, but I will adjust. There we go. Let's do calendula next. Calendula seeds are kind of fun looking. This is the Pink Surprise calendula. Holy, there's so many seeds in here. I'll just do 2 per cell. Okay. Hopefully something grows. I will say that's kind of my whole approach to gardening, is like plant a seed, hope it grows. I think my view of gardening is that if you're a gardener, you're kind of gonna automatically be an optimist, because you're putting seeds down and hoping something happens, but not guaranteed. So that's my worldview of it. Not being guaranteed success, but hoping for it. Let's see. I still have quite a few. I have a few cells left. I'll have to figure out what to do, or I'll just plant extra, whatever. I'm not sure. Or why don't I just do, I'll do 6 of the calendula resina. And I'll put 2 more of the Pink Surprise in that row, and then that way. Huh. Okay. Just gonna. Yep. Keep that going. Keep that energy. Yep. Boom. Pink Surprise. Gonna cover that lightly. We'll see what happens. Okay, so now we have cinnamon basil and bunny tails, and that's the last of it. Cinnamon basil, I think I'll just go ahead and put as much down as I can because it was a free gift. Maybe something will grow. Oh God, what have I done? We have an emergency. The good news is my rug is white, so I can see these little seeds. Okay. Did you have heart palpitations too? Still got a good amount left. That's quite a lot still. Okay, press them in. And then lastly, we've got bunny's tails. I can't believe you've stuck around this long if you've made it this long. Why? Okay, if I drop these seeds on the rug, I'm not gonna be able to find them because I'm pretty sure these seeds are what my rug is already made of. But at least with grass seeds, all you need to do is press them in, give that soil contact. Soil to soil, that seed to soil contact, I guess. They just need to be pressed in. If nothing comes up from that, I'll be shocked and horrified. Okay. Oh yeah, this was from the snapdragons that I just all dumped. Okay, we'll put the lid on, well, the dome, put the humidity dome on, and that's it, I think, for this year. Oh, I think I still have onions to sow. I'll sow those off camera, because I don't know what time it is. I probably need to get to work, which... yeah, I need to get to work. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.